What's going on, boys? Yep, MMA back in another video. Today, I'm going to be ranking every single UFC champion in 2024. Well, the 2024 champions, ranking them now in 2025. I'm sure the rankings will be different next year, but I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list from S tier all the way down to, I believe, D tier. And I'm going to be ranking them, giving you my reasoning why I'm placing them in which tier spot. And we got some great champions, and we also got some questionable champions. So I'm going to be re-ranking them all in the tier list. If you guys enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's get straight into it. So here we got all the champions lined up, starting with Alessandro Pantoja, ending with Tom Aspinall. I don't got John Jones on this list, I'm going to be honest, but I will rank him at the end anyway. But starting it off with the flyweight king, with the flyweight champ, Alessandro Pantoja, I think he's one of the best flyweights of all time. I think he's already proved that he's one of the best flyweights of all time. He doesn't have too much left to prove at flyweight. He's beat everybody he's had to beat. Everybody that they've chucked at him, he's beat. He just beat the Japanese prospect, and he's beat Brandon Royval, he's beat Brandon Moreno, he's beat all these guys, and he's beat everybody that could potentially be a threat towards him. Obviously, there's guys like Tatsuro Taira, Amir Albazi, but both Brandons beat those guys. So there's kind of a halt at flyweight right now. So we'll see what Pantoja's next matchup is. But nonetheless, man, this guy is definitely deserving of high A tier. I don't think he's an S tier just yet, but he's a high A tier for sure. One of the best flyweights of all time. I think a couple more wins and he'll be an S tier for sure. I think he could also make that move up to 135 if he wants to, and potentially contend for that second belt, which has been something that's been talked about quite often, or quite recently, especially when we talk about Merab, we talk about Pantoja. It'd be interesting to see what would happen if Pantoja moved up, but we will move on to Merab. Merab Dvalishvili, man, he's proved himself. He's an absolute machine. If you haven't seen my video, go check out my video. I said why. I was explaining why I believe Merab is the best bantamweight of all time. Go check out that video if you haven't already. But Merab, man, he's proven time and time again. He just beat Nurmagomedov. He just beat Umar Nurmagomedov, and he's on a huge, huge win streak. His 5 past wins have been absolutely insane. Umar, Sean O'Malley, Piotr Yan, Jose Aldo, and Henry Cejudo. Those 5 right there, that is a great, great win streak. So I am going to be putting Merab at high A tier. I want to put him at S, but there's some reasons why he's not going to be at S, man. Finishing potential, Merab is not the flashiest finisher. He's not the most entertaining champion. It's definitely not what Dana White wants as champ. He doesn't want Merab Dvalishvili as champion, but he is champ, and he has shown time and time again every single person he's fought. Because Dana's chucked him some difficult tests. He's given him past champions, and he's given him up and comers like Umar. He's given him super difficult challenges, and Merab's passed them all. He's thrived through all of them, so he deserves high A spot. I'd love to give him S, but not just yet, just because as well he doesn't have crazy amount of finishes. He's not a fan favorite champion, but we will keep him at A. But moving on, we got Ilia Topuria, man. Ilia Topuria is a tough one for me. I'm in between going S and A. It's really, really tough. I want to put him at S, man, just because of his past 2 wins. And they were nasty knockouts. And I think he will become the best featherweight of all time. I think it's possible. I think it's very, very possible. I know, obviously, Volk is still the best featherweight of all time, but he just knocked out Max Holloway and Volkanovski back-to-back, 2 of the best featherweights of all time who are going to be Hall of Famers. And he did it with relative ease. He didn't really struggle. So I think his ceiling is super high. It depends how long he continues to fight for. He obviously has a family. He doesn't want to injure himself too bad. So I think he wants to get out in the next few years, but he could do a lot in those next few years. He's fighting at least 2 to 3 times a year, and he wants to move up to lightweight. I think he deserves this as champ to be S tier, but we will see as time goes on. I do believe he will stay featherweight champ in 2025, though, and will carry it on into 2026. Moving on, though, we got Islam Makhachev, lightweight champion, lightweight GOAT. Okay, lightweight GOAT. I don't even need to say it. I don't even need to question it. He's high S tier. He's number 1 in S tier. Islam Makhachev is one of, if not the best lightweight of all time already. It's between him and Khabib and a couple other guys, obviously, but I just think Islam Makhachev is super dominant with what he does. He's super well-rounded. He can take it to the ground. He can keep it on the feet. He can knock you out. He can submit you. He can get a dominant decision. It's just, in general, Islam Makhachev is the most dominant lightweight right now, and could potentially be the most dominant lightweight of all time. I do think I do think that he deserves high S tier spot, and I think he will stay champ in 2025. Unless him and Taporia matchup, that would be a fun matchup. I don't know if they'll make that fight. Obviously, Taporia is going to be rematching Volk. Islam's probably going to be fighting Sarukian or Oliveira or something like that at lightweight. But they could definitely make that matchup. Ilya Taporia moves up to lightweight. It would be a fun fight, and it would be probably the biggest fight of the year, if not of the entire lightweight division ever. The biggest lightweight fight ever. Obviously, there's Khabib and Conor, but this is like basically the same thing. Ilya Taporia versus Islam Makhachev is like Conor versus Khabib too, and like better. And I feel like it'd be more competitive for sure. I think Islam Makhachev is super well rounded, and Ilya Taporia is super well rounded. I think they would clash very nicely. But enough with that. Islam Makhachev, number one pound for pound king, and he is the lightweight champion, and he's the lightweight goat. So I'm putting him at number one, man. I'll stop glazing, but we will move on to Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. I'm sorry, Bilal. I'm sorry, Balibi, but I gotta put you at C tier, man. I gotta put you at C tier. There's no hate towards Bilal. I think Bilal is a good champ, but I just don't think he's like an excessively dominant champ. I don't think he has an insane win streak either. I know he has a win streak, but the fights aren't insanely impressive by any chance. And I know he decisions and he's pretty dominant with his decisions, but Bilal Muhammad is not going to stay champ. I'm sorry. I do think he could beat Shavkat, but even then, it's going to be close. He might lose to Shavkat, and if he doesn't, he might lose to JDM. You never know. But I don't think Bilal Muhammad will stay champ in 2025. We will see, though. We will see when he's fighting and who he's fighting. I think it will be Shavkat, but I am going to be going with Bilal Muhammad at the C tier, unfortunately. I just don't think he's going to stay champ, and I don't think he is the best champion. Of course, Dana White also doesn't like him as champion because he's kind of got a style like Marab, but Marab's wins are definitely more impressive than Bilal's. So that just is what it is. But we will move on to Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis, man, he's kind of a mid-range B tier. I think Dricus du Plessis is very good. I just such a weird style, such a weird unorthodox style that it's kind of hard to be able to know how he's gonna fight. He doesn't have a fight style. He just fights. You know what I mean? He just fights. But he's a good champ. He is a good champ. He only beat Sean Strickland though. Beat Sean Strickland. Beat Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, the win. It was close. It was a close fight, but he got a nice submission at the end of the fourth, I believe, or midway through the fourth round, and that was a good win. But he's fighting Sean Strickland in a week, and I think the rematch will be close. I talked about it a few months ago. I think Dricus du Plessis will win, but I do think now it will be close. You know, and we'll have to see what happens. But I don't think DDP will stay champ in 2025 when he fights Khamzat Chimaev. It's just inevitable, man. Sorry. Khamzat Chimaev is the best wrestler in the UFC, and he's dominant. He's dominant with it. I think he will submit Dricus du Plessis with moderate ease, But if DDP beats Sean Strickland, beats Khamzat Chimaev, I might have to put him high up, A tier or S tier, in 2026. But we'll move on to Alex Pereira. This one, man, I gotta put him at S tier, low S tier, but at S tier nonetheless. He is a great champion, very active champion. Fights 3 times a year, minimum 3 times a year. Gets consistent knockouts, nasty knockouts, 3 knockouts in a row. Knocks out Yuri. He knocks out Khalil Roundtree. He knocks out Jamal Hill. Knocks out Yuri again. Like consistent fights, consistent knockouts, consistent performances that are very high end, and he's throwing himself into the fire as a champion. He's not scared to go in and start slugging it out on the feet, and he's a great kickboxer, super entertaining. So it's just inevitable to have Alex Pereira at the S tier. But we'll move on to the final guy, Tom Aspinall. I don't got John Jones on this list, but if I did have John Jones, I would be putting him at D tier. At D tier, I'm sorry. At D tier for his inactivity and his lack of fighting. Crazy competition. He's got Tom Aspinall here. Tom Aspinall, Curtis Blades was a potential title contender. Sergey Pavlovich could have fought for the title, but no, they all had to fight Tom Aspinall. They had to fight Tom Aspinall for the interim belt. Okay, so John Jones, bad champion, bad heavyweight champion at least. He was a great light heavyweight champion, but a bad heavyweight champion. So I'm not even putting him on this list. But Tom Aspinall, Tom Aspinall's an A tier. I think Tom Aspinall is a good champion, and I think he will be a great actual champion. Right now, he's an interim champion. He's a great interim champion. Defended his interim belt like once or twice, I believe. He got the interim belt actually when he fought Pavlovich, and then defended it against Curtis Blades. When do you have to defend an interim belt? That is absolutely retarded. I'm sorry, it's absolutely stupid. So I got Tom Aspinall at A. Once he gets that belt, he could definitely go up to high A tier and potentially get into S tier if he keeps running through every heavyweight. Fastest heavyweight on the feet. He's got great hands and he's got great wrestling as well. His submissions are good too. Tom Aspinall, very, very well-rounded heavyweight. So I got to put him at A tier, but this is the entire list, boys. There's not too much to be ranked, but I ranked every single champ. If you guys did enjoy the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop it down in the comments below if you guys agree with my list or if you guys would re-rank my list. But without further ado, I will see you boys in the next one. See you.